Welcome back to another episode of NFL News on the Boomer Bust channel. I'm your host, Terry, and today talking about Dak Prescott and his new contract. Let me tell you, this contract is crazy. This man has, I would say, the best contract in NFL history. Now, obviously, I don't know all the contracts. I haven't been following stuff that long. They haven't been reporting contracts that long. But obviously, we know the numbers compared to anything in the times where they weren't reporting this. They're not going to be even comparable. But overall, still, we're talking about, I would say, of the current contracts, let's just say that. He has the best contract in the NFL, and I would probably guess in NFL history. So I did an episode, and I'll probably link it at the end of the video, breaking down Pat Mahomes' contract with the Chiefs. And at the time, I was telling people, and you know, a little bit of arguments, that y'all don't understand the contract Mahomes has. And that's why I was breaking it down, because everybody just saw the number and they hear the tagline, highest paid, largest contract ever, longest contract, all this stuff. And it's like, again, you have to look at the details. The details are so, they're so wide ranging. And so when I broke down Pat Mahomes' contract, I told you he has a very team friendly contract. And other people start writing reports after that as well. And like, well, if you really look at it, but for the most part, people just assume Pat has a large contract, and he has a potentially large contract. A couple things that I pointed out is the guaranteed money. The guaranteed money he signed compared to Dak Prescott isn't even close. So let's give you a juxtaposition, because that's where this starts. First of all, Dak Prescott's contract is 4 years. Now, that's a personal preference. A lot of, obviously, basketball players, some NFL players nowadays think it's advantageous to have a shorter contract so you can get a free agency or at least get a new contract quicker. And in the NFL, there's no guaranteed contract, so that isn't always the best bet, and that's not usually the bet that the agents tend to go for. But again, Mahomes, if you think security is good, he has a much longer contract, and obviously you can always rework a deal, but they have a pretty big contract. Dak, he could get out of his contract, or I wouldn't say he could get out, but his is much shorter, and he can get out because of some stuff they put in there. And so that's one thing that he wanted. Now, when we start with the guaranteed money, talk about the signing bonus. So Pat Mahomes his signing bonus was $10 million. And it doesn't matter if you're talking quarterback, well, anything besides a kicker. When you're talking about like a franchise level player, I'm like, $10 million at signing is small. That's smaller than some running backs sign. And we know Pat Mahomes was given a team friendly deal, but to compare, Dak signed a $66 million signing bonus. 66. And that's important, because I always talk about guarantees. For the life of me, I don't know why they call them guarantees. Most times it's not guaranteed. As I tell people, the only thing you're really guaranteed in a standard contract, unless you write it differently, and we'll talk about that, you're only guaranteed the signing bonus. Because the whole workout bonus, roster bonus, like, yes, if you're there, you get it. But if you get hurt and you're not there, then you don't get it. The other bonuses that they give you, whatever they might be, the incentives, obviously, none of that's guaranteed. The only thing that's really guaranteed is signing bonus, because you get that money for signing a contract. And so while Pat Mahomes got $10 million for signing that contract, and it was up front. I think somebody was speculating they might have spread it out, but I think it was up front. I don't know, but either way, it's $10 million. Dak gets $66 million. So for us, that's not great at math. $56 million more than Pat Mahomes. Now, what's even crazier on top of that is he's got guaranteed salaries for the next 2 years. So this year, Dak is going to make $9 million, which is obviously super low, but that's to offset with his signing bonus. But that $9 million is guaranteed. And so it doesn't matter what happens, he's going to get paid his salary for this season. And so that's $75 million at signing. On top of that, his 2022 salary is also guaranteed at $20 million. And so what essentially Dak got was $95 million for signing his contract. 95. Now, Pat Mahomes has some guaranteed base salary figures as well, but they don't trigger at signing. They trigger a little later. So the way that they set Pat Mahomes' contract up is that the money is going to trigger like a year ahead of time. And so he does have some guarantees. Now, his roster bonuses aren't all guaranteed. Now, he has a lot more what do you call it, years on his contract. So there's a lot of different things. And remember, this is an extension after his rookie contract, so it won't start until later. And so looking at this, when you get to the third year or the third league day of the league year coming up this year, his 2023 roster bonus and workout bonus will be guaranteed. And then next year, it'll trigger his 2024. So it's actually 2 years in advance for those first few. And so that's likely to happen. Like, if you're good right now, you'll be good in the next few years. But once again, that's not guaranteed. You could break there's obviously ways they set up where if you cut him, it'd be tough. But if he tore his leg up and something happened and they moved on from him right now, he could be out some money. But Dak's not. Dak's got $95 million because no matter what happens, once he signs that contract, $95 million is his. And so the number for guaranteed money that they put for Mahomes, which again is still technically not guaranteed because you got a lot of dates that he has to hit. Not a lot, but you got a couple dates that he has to hit. That total is $63 million. That's total 63 for the life of his contract. He got 63 kinda up front. He got 10 million fully up front. Dak Prescott got 95 million fully up front. And so that's just the money. Now, a couple other things that he has. Now, this, I don't know. I don't recall if this was in Pat Mahomes' contract, but I'm assuming it is. But Dak has a no trade clause. We've seen more players get that. But he also has a no tag clause. Now, I don't think Pat Mahomes has that because they would never really need to tag him. He's under contract for a long time. But obviously, Prescott has been on a tag. He don't want to be on a tag. So it's two things that he did, which is nice, or his agent, or whoever. Dak has a no tag clause, so they can't tag him. But he also has, so the last 2 years of his contract are voidable. So they can void the last 2 years, more than likely, so they could renew a new contract, or, if it was to go left, they could get rid of him. But his contract is not voidable until a couple days after the franchise tag deadline. So they can't void him and then void the contract and then tag him. If they are going to void his contract, it's going to be after the franchise tag deadline, meaning that if you were to void his contract, he's going to become a free agent. And so, again, they set the deal up in a way where you really can't tag him again. And obviously that's something he didn't want to do. Like, he wanted a shorter contract, but he still wanted some security in the short term, but he wants to be flexible to sign a new contract when the new TV deal hits. And so this pretty much puts him in the best position, because if he's doing well, then you want to void the contract and you want to work on something new. You have to let him be a free agent to do that. You can't tag him. And obviously, if he's not doing well, and you get to that point where you can void 2025 and 2026, guess what? If he's no longer a good player, he made a lot of money. He made a whole lot of money. So it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy how much he got, because I think people look at the overall and they look at the per year. And I try to tell people that don't mean anything. Like, his base salary for next year is $9 million, and then his base salary after that is 20, then it's 31, and then it's 29. And so, but what they'll tell you is, oh, he's making 40 some million a year. That's just the average. And I hate when they do that. They take the total amount of the contract, divide it up by the number of years. They just give you the average. He's not making 40 something a year. And some people say, oh, well, it's not as good. It's actually better, because you took a lot of that money and you put it up front in your signing bonus, and you got your base salaries guaranteed. And then that's on top of the other quirks he has with the no trade and the no tag. So he is set up, honestly, to be in a absolute just great situation, because the last 2 years, 2025 and 2026, are voidable. So that means 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024, basically 4 years, he is going to essentially be guaranteed to be on unless something happens with him. Now, he doesn't have a guaranteed contract in 2024. His salary isn't guaranteed. None of his, he has a roster bonus that's on the 5th day, but none of that's guaranteed. So, again, he might not be there, or he might not be still what he is around that time. But for this year, next year, and then if he makes the roster on the 5th day of next year, his 2023 salary becomes guaranteed. So that means if we get to around this point next year, he will have another $31 million guaranteed. So you're looking at, what did they say? At the minimum. So basically what would happen is, the only way they could get out of some of this is they would have to cut Dak within the next year. And even if you do that again, he's got $95 million guaranteed. If you don't cut him within the next year, then he'll have $126 million overall guaranteed through those years. So I think that Jerry Jones, I don't know, I wouldn't say he got, because I don't think, it's not like he looked at the contract and didn't understand that this was highly in Dak's favor. He's been saying for a long time Dak has all the leverage. But what I will say is Jerry Jones paid a lot for Dak. I wouldn't say he got over on Jerry Jones, but I will say Jerry knew what he was doing, and he paid a lot for Dak. This contract blows people's contract out of the water. I'm going to read this from an article. I'm not claiming I did this myself, but it just kind of highlights, and it's basically talking about the amount of money for the first 4 years. So Dak's deal is $29 million higher than Russell Wilson's first 4 years. It's $35.5 million higher than A-Rod's first 4 years. Is $42.5 million higher than Matt Ryan's first 4 years. $49.2 million more than Deshaun Watson's. $49.9 million more than Jared Goff. $56.1 million more than Carson Wentz. And good old Pat Mahomes, he's making $56.4 million more dollars than Pat Mahomes over the first 4 years. So obviously, again, it comes back to taste. If you're like longevity, team friendly, where you can help the team, help the cap, yes, you could say Pat Mahomes has a great deal. If you're talking about just straight up trying to make your money, Dak Prescott had not even the money part, but the way that he built in the mechanisms to protect himself in case something was to get to happen, and he's protected against injury for 2023 base salary. So that $31 million would only have to be if they cut him. And so, again, he's protected himself well against the tag, against the trade, against injury. He's got a lot of money up front. He's got a short deal so that he could re-up later if he proves himself. Obviously, if he plays trash the next 3 years, it won't matter. But if he proves himself, he'll be in position to get an even fatter contract. And I think they say he'll be 31 at the time. So to me, he has, I wouldn't say the perfect deal, but he has the best deal and contract we've seen in the NFL. So that's it for me. Go to the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share around, get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you for listening.